In this video, I'm going to teach you some Qigong exercises. There are many styles of Qigong, and this is just one. It doesn't mean that the others are wrong, they're just different. What I do is have my feet parallel, which opens the front and the back equally and allows the pelvis to have the maximum play and centeredness. And I bend my knees halfway. The reason I bend my knees halfway is if my knees were fully bent, I wouldn't be able to turn my hips very much. And if my knees are straight, again, I can't turn my hips much. Because in order to turn my hips to the maximum, I have to bend one knee and straighten the other. So when the knees are bent halfway, that gives you the maximum turning ability. And the Qigong that I do is one where the weight is equally distributed between the 2 feet, and everything is done by turning, no shifting side to side. Not that that's wrong, it's just different. And it can be done with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, and again, turning side to side. In these exercises, you try to release as much as possible and use the minimum amount of strength. So to start, what you can do is recreate the heavy feeling you get when you get out of a hot bath. And here's a good one to exercise to recreate that feeling. Reaching up, looking up, breathing in, and lowering. As you lower, drop the shoulders. As the hands go by the eyes, release the eyes. The face, the jaw, the neck, shoulders again, chest, abdomen, lower abdomen, and you could dwell for a few seconds. And again, looking up, reaching up, breathing in, and lowering. As you go by each part of the body, let the tension drain away, relaxing everything you possibly can, and just having everything hang, all the musculature hanging from the skeleton. And one more, I like to do at least 3 of these. Looking up, reaching up, breathing in, dropping the shoulders, releasing the tension in the eyes, letting the eyes liquefy. Releasing the jaw, the neck, shoulders, chest, abdomen, and lower abdomen. And then just stand in that state of heaviness and rotate, bring the elbows forward and rotate the hands to face the rear. And imagine that water is coming from behind you and pushing your hands forward, and you have to push your hands back slightly to prevent them from being pushed forward. This is only in your imagination. You're not tensing. But when you do this, there is neural electricity that imagining that causes neural electricity to go to the muscles that would do that, and that's stimulating the cells to absorb oxygen, absorb nutrients, and release wastes. And that is definitely connected to Qi. And you'll feel the buzz in your hands, you'll feel that electricity. Next, turning. The movement comes from the legs, the hips, and the trunk of the body moves as a unit. I'm not twisting my trunk. Everything is moving as a unit. And there are a number of ways to do this with the head. One is to have the head straight forward as you're doing it, and that is nice to get that turning of the neck in a relaxed manner. Another is to let the head turn with the body. And another is to look at the hand as you move your hands, to focus on the hand, which helps the Qi to become stronger. These are circles. So when I get to this point, I'm dropping my elbow. That brings my hand back more and comes down. My hand is not going behind my body, because if my feet were here, you'd see my hand is almost centered in my body. It's because I'm turning my body. And then between each Qigong and the next, attain that orientation where the elbows are slightly forward and the palms face the rear, and you're feeling that effect of that neural electricity as you imagine pushing backward. These exercises are very similar to ones that were taught me by Sam Chin-Fan Xiang, and a lot of what I learned is from my teacher Harvey Sober. The exercises that Sam Chin-Fan Xiang taught were more for self-defense, and I made them purely Qigong. So I've taken some of the self-defense aspect out. Here, your arms are floating in water at sternum level, and I'm not using my arms at all or my hands. It's the body pulling and the momentum bending the elbows and shoulders. Here the elbow closes, the shoulder closes, now it opens. It's all a result of the turning of the body and momentum. And then rest, feel the effect. Here's one more, frontal movement. The other two movements were sagittal and horizontal, respectively. This is frontal. The palms face forward, the fingers point upward, and each hand is making a circle. One hand clockwise, the other hand counterclockwise. Again, I'm not shifting, I'm just turning the hips. As I turn the hips, my knees are not going in like this. They're more piston-like, going forward and back. And rest. Again, do that. I'll skip that for the next ones because I want to put more into the video. Here's one more. This is called the jade belt. And what I'm doing is letting my hands float as though they were resting on something and just turning the trunk of my body as a unit. The shoulders and elbows have to be very relaxed in order for this to happen. Otherwise, it turns into that. And the goal here is to get this independent movement and to have passive movement opening the shoulders and elbows, which is very beneficial. In other words, these joints are opening and closing not through action of the muscles that are connected to them, but through the legs. The muscular action of the legs. And then rest, feel the effect. This is a powerful one, and you feel the effect going across the chest, through the arms. Tingling, electrical feeling. And then here's another version of that, opening and closing. When I open my arms and close them, through one cycle, my hips and my trunk of my body are making many cycles of back and forth movement. So the hands are opening and closing slowly, continuously, no sudden change in space or in time. And then rest. Here's one more. Always feel the effect between the two, between one and the next. This is a convex and then concave. So that's stretching and massaging the acupuncture meridians when I do that. Again, I'm just turning my body about a vertical axis. I'm not shifting. Loose, like seaweed in the water, floating in the water. And rest, feel the effect. One more. I'm turning towards the rising arm. I'm sorry, turning away from the rising arm is what I meant to say. Turning away from the rising arm, turning towards the arm that's coming down. Again, concave, convex. And rest. Here's one more. Palms are opposite all the time. And I turn away from the outgoing hands. And my hands are wound up, and I release them as I come to the neutral position for my hips, neutral for hands, and then wind, very gently wind everything up as I turn the other way. Unwind, neutral, wind. The unwind, I'm not doing this. The unwinding is gentle and using the minimum amount of strength to allow that to happen. All the time I'm letting my weight sink and releasing as much tension in my body as I can. And rest. Here is the same exercise in the vertical direction. Again, turning away from the rising arm. Very smooth. When my hips are wound up, so are my hands. And rest. Here's one more, a big vertical circle with both hands. And I'm using my whole body to do it. Turning, looking up, looking down, bending a little bit, bending backward a little bit. Then change direction. Circle. Everything is involved. My knees are changing, my hips, spine, everything. Here's one more. Rotating the ball. I'm turning toward the rising arm. Turn back and back again. That's 1, 2, 3. And each time my palms, all the time, my palms are facing inward as though they were sliding on a large ball. Notice how my hips go one way, then the other, or then the back. And here's a variation of that, of rotating the ball. It's called parting the wild horse's mane. Turn one way, turn the other, and turn back. This is a more difficult one. Now the one with the ball, you could do it this way, the way I did, or do it the opposite way. I'm turning now away from the rising arm. And if you do it both ways, you'll reach a point where you have no preference. Thank you.